Thank you so much for joining us. What does this mean for you personally, first and foremost, as a tennis fanatic?
Well, I think Djokovic by now should be up to speed with what's going on. He's suffered enough in the past couple of years, certainly earlier this year, by not being allowed into Australia. And he's letting the opportunity to win Grand Slams and elevate himself above Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal potentially, and become the greatest player of all time.
Sure, and players must be gutted, right? Because they won't see him competing to become the greatest player of all time.
Other players must be gutted. I think other players see it as a great opportunity without the best hardcore player around.
But do you not want to be the best by playing against the best? And this has scuppered his chances entirely of taking over Rafael Nadal's #1 Grand Slam title wins, hasn't it?
Well, it appears to be doing so, yes. And if he continues to take this stubborn stand, he won't be allowed into Australia in January. That's a given. So then we go on to Paris next year, French Open. And it does appear that he's not quite the clay court player that he was a few years ago.
Do you think that this policy makes any sense when players themselves could be unvaccinated, or Novak Djokovic could test himself before playing, and all the other players have said they're fine to play against him? Who's being protected by this?
Well, I'm not sure other players would test themselves. I think a lot of the majority of other players, the overwhelming majority of other players, get tested and make sure that they're in the clear. And if you go to a Grand Slam, it's in the locker rooms, in the players' lounges. It's a very closely knit community where it's the sort of thing where viruses can be passed around. And another thing that I think should always be borne in mind about Novak Djokovic is that a few years ago, when he was very, very flippant and blasé about the spread of corona, he organised a tour which was almost flaunting the rules. And a number of players actually came down with coronavirus after this tour. And I think the powers that be won't forget that in a hurry.
Well, travelling is a major part of this game. Do you think he should take the vaccine in order to travel?
Personally, I think he should. But it's Djokovic's prerogative, like it is everyone, what he puts into his body. But personally, I think he should.